recording the podcast! Shut up!
Good morning to you, wherever you are, because it is
Morning somewhere!
for July 17th, 2024. Nailed that one. My name is Brady Burns, sitting right over there. She's the stinky bandit herself, Ashley Burns. How you doing, Ash?
Look, I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to think about it.
Yeah, thought crimes. So I did some secret recordings with Finn.
That was cute as a button, by the way.
Yeah,
I'm maybe biased, but it was pretty cute.
We did a lot of Scotland themed recordings with Finn last night. Let's see if this one.
They may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom.
Yeah. So yesterday I took a little bit of a road trip. Ashley, I had to have a business meeting, and we have a choice of we can drive to a few different cities, but the one that's probably like the biggest and most nearest by is Inverness, either Inverness or Aberdeen, right?
Yes.
And so I went to Inverness.
Anywhere's a drive, so
anywhere's
pick one.
a drive. Well, I was thinking about this. So there's a couple things. First of all, yesterday I was driving. We have a car. It's not a new car. It's a 2018, right?
Right.
And so I'm driving down the road, and as you know, Ashley, on the quote-unquote highways in northern Scotland, we go from 60 miles an hour to sometimes it goes up to 70, then it goes back down to 60, then it goes down to 20 miles an hour. I'm not exactly sure why some of these towns feel like they can drop the highway down to 20 miles an hour, but they do it. And you have these zones where it changes, and the way they do it in the UK is a little bit different, or at least the part of the UK we're in. We don't always see it right away, when the speed limit changes. But on the car, because we have a little display, I have CarPlay on the car, which has been around since at least 2018. It'll tell me, through Google Maps, what the current speed limit is as far as it knows, right?
Right.
And then it got me thinking, because I would check that. That's how I'd verify, oh shit, I should be going much slower. I'm on a road trip. I'm setting my cruise control. Why can't, in a modern car, why can't I set a cruise control that is just go the current speed limit? That's it. So I don't have to pay attention to when it changes and all that stuff.
I guess that's probably the kind of thing that's
it probably
coming
exists
up,
somewhere,
and it probably exists on some models of cars somewhere. Maybe you should get a newer fucking car, Bernie. But it's. I don't know that I want that quite yet. Maybe the technology has moved on since I experienced this. But one of the first cars that I remember reading speed limit signs was when we would drive the Tesla, right? And it wasn't using Google Maps. It was actually looking and using cameras,
right,
and it would read the
cameras.
speed limit sign, and so it would say, "Oh, it's this speed here." But there's an odd thing in Texas, which is where we were driving it, where you'd be on, say, the freeway, the speed limit's 65, and then next to the freeway, there's a feeder road, and maybe the speed limit there is 40 or 45, whatever. And sometimes the car would see the feeder road's speed limit sign, read it, and think that I should be going 45. And I had to constantly correct it, going, no, ignore that. That's not where you should be.
Dude, listen, the American interstate system is so amazing. Just you talking about it makes me miss it so much. They overbuilt them so much that there's a road next to the road. There's a road that runs parallel to the freeway.
They gave the road a pet road.
Pretty much. And then you can just access everything through there. At least in Texas. I'm sure if you're driving in
everywhere's got a different system.
Downtown Boston, it might not be the case. That's probably a lot more like it is here in the UK. But I was just thinking about that. I was thinking about something else too, because yesterday we were talking about the Lion King 2019, the live action,
quote unquote.
Can you hear me
yes.
making finger quotes? Live action. That is the top of the best animated films.
Well,
highest
grossing, not best.
Not best. And I got to thinking about that. We were talking about different movies and how much CG is a part of it, and when does it cross over and become animation. But really, what I was thinking about was when we were doing the coin project for all of our lovely patrons on our Patreon. Thank you so much for supporting us. We definitely appreciate it. When we were stuffing all of those envelopes, when Scott and I were doing it in the US, we watched a lot of Rick and Morty. When we were doing it here, I felt like we watched Infinity War and Endgame. Those were a lot of Avengers stuff.
Yes.
And even go back and watch some
Ultron.
Ultron.
Solid choices.
Yes, it's great because you know it and you can look up every now and then and pass time while you're doing something.
And be like, oh, yeah, this is a
repetitive.
great scene. Love this one.
And I got to thinking, I keep wanting to bring this up, and this is probably a good time to do it. Is Thanos the best CG character in all of cinema? Because I've never heard anyone complain about how unrealistic Thanos looks to them. They got him so right, you know? And if they didn't get him right, it would have been a huge misstep.
Well, the early rounds, right, when he was appearing in like the post-credit scenes and stuff, when they were sort of setting him up, but he wasn't ready for like, you know, prime time. Those were kind of rough. So by the time they got to Infinity War and really like brought him in, then yes. But the previous iterations were not quite there. That would have been a disaster.
He was in a whole scene with the villain from Guardians of the Galaxy 1. He was in a scene where he was chastising him. And
that's right. He was.
And it was not great. Like everything about that was kind of weird. Like
just off
the set was
right?
weird. Like they were just on a floating asteroid in the middle of nowhere. Do you remember that?
You don't have a floating asteroid that you just hold court on sometimes?
Bitch, my car's from 2018. No, I don't have a floating asteroid anywhere. I'm busy trying to steal manure in my spare time. Yeah, but it was like they got him right. Like, and I know could be one of those things that you go back in 10 years and go, oh, we really think this was passable at the time. But I honestly, are there people out there who can't watch Endgame or Infinity War because the villain just looks too goofy to them?
No, I think they did a really good job of getting Thanos right when it came to it.
Yeah.
Like when it was time for him to be the big bad. It was really, really great. There's nothing I can think of where he doesn't fold into the scenery as a proper character, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But
I would say he's better than the Hulk, and the Hulk has way more screen time across all the movies.
The Hulk also improved a lot throughout the series.
Definitely.
If you look at Avengers Hulk versus like Endgame Hulk, well, I mean, aside from the obvious character differences, like the CGI is also taken to another level. So it's possible that Thanos will age as well. But I also think that it's the where Thanos they got right is not just the CGI, it's also the performance. Like Josh Brolin knocked it out of the park, making a character that was like obviously a psychopath trying to destroy half of everything in existence, but you get it. He's kind of like this weirdly like sympathetic big bad. Like you get it, but he still has to be stopped.
It's so different too. His motivation in the comics is not some like ecological climate allegory.
Isn't he trying to basically impress a girl?
He's trying to impress Lady Death,
right?
Yeah. The basically the Grim Reaper by killing half of the universe. On her behalf, essentially.
Oh, that's sweet.
He's got a mad crush. He's love bombing her. And then I'm kind of in this weird algorithm.
Sounds to me like he's just giving her more work. Ugh, what a jerk.
If only he knew, just a giant pile of manure would have done it. If only he knew. I'm in this weird algorithm with YouTube Shorts in particular where, and I don't mind it at all, where it's people who do summaries of comic book arcs the way they were. A lot of times they compare them versus the adapted series, whether it's the MCU or The Boys. I mean, that one they say like, what happened to this character in The Boys comics or Walking Dead or something like that. And the one that I'm in right now, it showed me Thanos. There's this whole arc in the comics apparently where Thanos just chose one human and would show up every year on his birthday and ruin his birthday.
Wait, so this isn't like he doesn't choose a different human every year.
No.
It's this one human.
Guy.
He's like, fuck you in particular.
And the guy gets to be like 30 and Thanos doesn't show up. And that's how that guy learns that the Avengers defeated Thanos. It's so weird.
Can you imagine just like waiting around for it all day?
Yeah, he's not quite as sympathetic in the comics, I don't think, as he was in the movies. But I gotta say too, well, it's a little bit of an offshoot. We're on such a deep tangent at this point. The narration, that automated narration that's on YouTube, it's a guy on YouTube, at least the ones I see. It's a guy on YouTube, and on TikTok, it's the lady. Like, my face when, you know?
Yes, I know.
Everybody knows the
TikTok
voice.
lady voice, absolutely.
Are those the most ubiquitous AI personalities right now? Do those characters have names? Those performers, for lack of a better term?
Pretty sure they're all named Scarlett Johansson.
She's going to make a mint suing people.
What is her name in Her? Is it... What's the character's name in Her?
I just saw it. Is it Samantha?
Samantha, that's it. So they're all named Samantha. Or Sam for short, I guess, if you're the guy.
It's gender neutral. Could be anybody could be named Sam or Samantha.
Sure.
That's a name you don't hear too much anymore. I knew it was Sam when I was in high school. She was Samantha, but we all called her Sam. You don't hear too much anymore, Samantha.
Well, maybe it's
Probably we're
because
getting the
they're
name
all
of the
gonna be
character
the
wrong, by
androids.
the way. It's probably not the name of the
That's-
character, but we're just down this
It's
road.
fine. They're all
We're
Samantha's
committing to
now.
it. But the weird thing was, too, there was a Reddit thread about the movie Her, and people were talking about how prescient it was. Do you remember when the movie Her came out, Ashley?
A couple years ago.
2013.
Oh, what? Wait, what?
Yeah, Her was 2013. It's over 10 years old. People were having kind of an existential crisis when they realized that.
Oh my God, yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. It's wild.
And then 10 years later, Her we are.
Are you talking about the Amazon announcement?
Kind of. Yeah, so there's Amazon has announced a robot.
Robot.
So this is not a in your screen robot. This is a little robot that will follow you around your house. And
How are you doing?
it can like play either you can use it in two ways. It can either follow you around and like play your music or like come find you if a timer's going off, or if you're not home, I guess it can watch the house for you. Go make sure that you turn the stove off. I don't know.
Listen, as a person who sometimes leaves the house and thinks, holy shit, did I turn off the faucet? Did I turn off this? Is that still on?
Imagine sending the robot to check for you.
Listen, there's been times where when I was traveling for work and stuff, I would call a friend and go, hey, can you just run over and check this thing real quick? You know what I mean? If I had a robot that I could like walk over to the window and just look out the window to see if my mail's there or something, there's a lot of uses for this.
Imagine the possibilities. You're on vacation and you send the robot to look at your cat.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that you can do a video chat with your cat while you're gone.
Cat would fucking hate it, first of all. Can you imagine that?
Yeah, the cat's like, finally, I got some space from you. You just won't leave me alone?
Cats do this weird thing whenever there's a change where they just go away for 2 weeks. They just hide in a closet or something. And there's like some kind of period, and it's different for every cat, where they're like, okay, I'm cool with this now. Your cat, Nutmeg, it was about 12 years, that she would hide before a change was acceptable. But like Mush and Joe the cat, they were both about 2 weeks. Even if you like changed locations, you moved a cat to a different house, you had about 2 weeks where they were under the bed.
And then
they
they're
were
out
okay.
exploring. Yeah.
Then they were fine.
Well, so the bad news, Bernie, is there are a lot of house features that this robot currently is not compatible with, like black floors.
Black floor. Okay, black floors.
If you have glossy black floors, this robot not for you. If you have curved edges, sunken areas,
What?
Bernie,
Curved edges?
Your 70s conversation pit, no good.
Oh, if you have
No
like a
good.
sunken living room? Yeah, so if you lived in the Playboy Mansion in 1975, this is
Don't
not
get
the
this
robot for you.
Or any floor transitions more than 3.5 centimeters. So if you've got like a bump,
Or a shag carpet, or
Yeah,
an
no good.
avocado green fridge. It's not compatible with any of those.
But here's the thing: is this robot? They've just announced it. It's so it's on Amazon.com. We'll put the link in the link dump. It doesn't matter because you can't order it anyway.
Ooh, it has
It's
quadraphonic sound system.
it's apparently by invitation only. You can request one, and then they'll decide if you're allowed to buy it or not. But this
Yeah,
robot
you're going on a list if you click that button.
is it's $1,600 for this robot, which is a lot. That's a big investment. But let's put this in perspective.
That's still
a little
somehow
bit.
more than I expected. That sounds like it's a $1,600 Alexa.
And it sort of it is.
Yeah.
So it's a walking or rather rolling Alexa. But it's also, think about this, Bernie. You could get 2 of these robots for the price of an Apple Vision Pro headset.
Oh, that's a good way to look at it. Yeah.
It's
so
an
when you compare it to like
iPad
other
and a half.
high-end consumer electronics products, yeah, that makes sense. Or it's about the same cost as a drone, which is basically what it is for your house.
Right.
A little drone.
Which, speaking of drones, can I just say about this robot, Bernie? I mean, look, given the cost, given that you can't actually buy it unless you ask to buy it,
Right.
This is throwing real Amazon drone vibes. It's a stunt, right?
It's absolutely a marketing stunt to get people to go to the Amazon website to read
Amazon.com.
about this personal robot they can have.
Look, it
Just
worked.
so
We're
happens
talking about it.
It's during Prime Days.
Right, which is
Right.
happening right now.
Right. So they want people to go to the website. This is like their new big, midsummer marketing push. You were talking about the drone thing. You're talking about when they announced their drone delivery.
Yes.
I think at the time, that was a Cyber Monday promotion before they had Prime Days.
Because they were just trying to get everyone to go to the website and then be like, while I'm here, I'll, order a dash button or I don't know, whatever.
A dash button. Remember, do they still have those dash buttons?
I don't know that they still make those.
That seemed dangerous to me, especially if you had a toddler.
Oh my God.
So it was a button that you could program for stuff you needed, like trash bags. And so you could just put this little, I guess it was a Wi-Fi button on a battery, and you would just press the button and You would buy it now.
Right. Like I think a lot of the demos showed things like, oh, it's the washing machine. I'm out of washing. My kid ate the last washing pod.
Jesus.
Oh no, I need to order some more. And so you just push the button and it would order them and send them to your house. And it's like, oh, this amazing. I remember mostly the washing machine is the demo for that.
But could you imagine having a toddler now? It's like,
Push,
hey,
push, push,
did you
push,
order 8,000 trash bags? Or was that our 2-year-old who decided to push the button 1,000 times?
Maybe that's why.
Because it had a tiny little light on it.
Yeah, maybe that's why that went out of style.
But when they did that announcement for Amazon drone delivery, they acted like, here it is, it's coming, it's going to be here any day, you'll be getting packages right away. I went and looked this up, Ashley. When do you think Amazon made their drone delivery announcement?
Oh, 2017, 18?
Okay, so here is from a Time magazine article in 2021 talking about whatever happened to Amazon's drone delivery. This is an excerpt from the article. Amazon announced an experimental drone delivery service with great fanfare as part of a 60 Minutes feature in 2013.
That's her year.
Oh, that is hers year. It was a very eventful year.
I guess so. And all these things are happening, 10 years later?
Yeah, apparently it was Thanos' first appearance. Amazon's promise was quite remarkable. Your packages containing everything from toothpaste to a new smartphone would arrive right at your doorstep by way of drone that lands, drops your parcel, and then flies away.
All right, first of all,
2013.
Can we talk about who this person is that, I guess they're talking about the drone delivery for a smartphone. I was imagining a dash button. I'm thinking, who needs a dash button for smartphones?
I need a smartphone right now. No, but that makes sense because it's like smaller weight so they can do it. And I think I have heard about like some test markets where they've done some of this drone delivery. And I think there's even been talk of drone delivery for like pizza and Uber Eats and stuff like that as well.
Yeah, they so apparently Amazon does have some drone delivery programs specifically in College Station, Texas and Lockhart, California. Apparently they also do a bit in Italy and the UK, but we have
Italy.
I know, right? I wouldn't have called it, but apparently in Italy and in the UK, although not here. I haven't seen any drones delivering my stuff. What is it? Because I'm in the middle of nowhere and oh boy, it'd take an awful lot to get all the way out there. Fuck you, I want my drone. Give me the drone.
If I may, it's because we do bank up our Amazon orders, and when you order stuff, it's like 18 things at once.
So send me the fleet.
It looks like a small fort, like that they're delivering.
Send me the fleet.
We just need to space stuff out. Just space it out.
All right,
Space
apparently we just need to order smartphones, and then bam, they come via drone.
You just need to find out if
Just
they can.
push the dash button and get your new smartphone order.
Can a drone deliver a half ton of manure? That's what we want to know. That's what we want to find
That's
out.
where the real value is.
We did get a lot of comments about that saying, if you just went and asked, they probably would give it to you. It's like, that wasn't the point of the story.
It's a like intrusive thought. Like I could take that. I could take it.
The
and
point of the story
I could
is,
do it.
what happened to us, Ash?
We were so cool.
How did we get here?
We were so cool. What
How are we having
happened?
discussions about cow shit on a regular basis?
Look, we also do the cool things. We talk about, getting robots in the house.
Hey, there are a few things that are kind of converge. I find like this has been happening to me lately. Like there's things out in the ether and they converge on each other without like really enforcing it. I wonder if I'm just seeing these connections in weird ways.
It's because they want you to, Bernie.
But we're talking about like her. We're talking about androids. Literally just yesterday, I learned that a show that we're watching, The Boys, which we're going to do a media club for that, right? This weekend on Patreon?
Yes, that's going to be our Patreon. So we'll do like the live watch along for the finale. Get our reactions live. And then just stick around afterwards talking about the show and the season.
And
so
we're going to make
really
the
fun.
assumption that if you're tuning in for the last episode of the current season, that you're up to date and we can talk about whatever in The Boys. Spoilers, we mean.
Yes. If you haven't watched why would you watch it otherwise? Come on.
Otherwise, why would you watch it? So I learned that there's a new character in The Boys, a character named Firecracker, one of the new soups.
Yeah.
She's been all over the media as well, so I'm not spoiling anything there. I'm being careful about what I say here. I learned that actress, do you know the name of the actress who plays
Valerie Curry or Curie.
Okay. Had you ever seen her in anything else before? Did you recognize her?
I mean, she's familiar, but I don't know.
There's a
anything I've
reason
seen
why
her
she
yet.
might be familiar to you. Well, we're
Okay.
talking. This converges with everything. We're talking about like the androids and drones, and we're talking about CG characters. She was one of the main androids in the game Detroit Become Human. She played the nanny bot.
Oh, no
Kara.
Bot. Yeah. No, that's weird that's what she would have, her face stuck in my mind all that time from that game. How weird.
Yeah, and I enjoyed that game, even though it was a game on the PS4. It came out in 2013. No. It was a game on the PS4 that we all played. I think we played it during lockdown. It was in our backlog, and we all played it when we were all kind of trapped in the house. Either way, there was a point in time where it seemed like me, you, and JD all played it at about the same time.
Yes.
So we got to see everyone else's narratives.
Yeah, and it was this very cool game because it follows these 3 different androids. It has these 3 sort of intertwining storylines, but beyond that,
3 for you guys.
They're branching, right? So depending on the choices that you make throughout the game, these characters end up in wildly different places throughout the story, and they can be very, very significant changes.
To be fair, game is actually a gracious term for this. It's more like a choose your own adventure narrative.
Yeah, kind of.
But not like Mass Effect. Like, it wasn't like a core narrative and everyone kind of had the same story. And at the end, there's just different characters present and different sub-stories.
Like different variations.
This, you could have a completely different storyline. Like, I would watch other people play. I had a character who was part of a Android uprising protest, in which he died, which was the midpoint for everyone else's narrative. And it was the end of that character for me. And when I saw the character in you all's games, I was like, how that character is still around?
You got the worst ending for all 3 characters. It's
the worst.
It's like you were trying.
I think I was trying too hard. I think it was. I was trying to make the best possible things, and it just kept backfiring on me. There was some probability matrix where they could show you, if you ended up with this ending, what was the likelihood. It was astronomically improbable that I would get to these horrible endings for all of these characters.
For you,
including the children,
was the most depressing game of all time.
I had a terrible experience playing that game. I would still recommend it to people.
No, it was really great. All the stories were very nuanced. All the characters were really great. The performances were really great. It looked amazing. I loved that game. I thought it was great, and she was great in it. I liked her character, and the character of one of the other androids, the police officer.
Oh, it's interesting.
The cop.
You're thinking about Connor.
Connor, yeah. The actor for that character, I ended up recognizing a lot more because he also went on to do quite a bit of stuff on Twitch, I think, including a playthrough of Detroit.
It's interesting. We went down the same path together. So he was on Twitch. Is that where I was curious what happened because it seemed like such a great role, and it seemed like it could have been a breakout role. And then the actress went on to play Firecracker and the Boys, which is one of the biggest series, I think, going today.
I think so.
But he really hasn't been in much since then. He had a voice in Cyberpunk. He was in Red Dead Redemption 2 later that year, but he's on Twitch now. Is that what he's doing? That's interesting.
Well, Twitch is what...
Brian Deckard.
Yeah, I remember hearing quite a lot about him on Twitch after Detroit came out. I don't follow Twitch all that closely, so I don't know for sure that's what he's doing these days. But yeah, he was great.
Well, let's link his account then. Here, go check him out. Salt Lake City native, by the way.
Put it in the link dump. What's up, Salt Lake City? Represent.
Yeah, but really great performances. I mean, held his own really well against Clancy Brown, who played the human detective in scenes with him. It was a great game. I really enjoyed it. It's not one that really, shows up as ones that people recommend, long term, I don't think, but I had a great time playing it. Also, I think it was PlayStation exclusive, which limits it a little bit, but not too much.
Yeah, but what's this? You can buy these androids on Amazon? That's they're on Prime Day. What a great deal. And just a drone's going to drop off your Android. Amazing.
It is, though. It just goes to show how this marketing works and how you get it. I mean, we are talking about The Boys, which is an Amazon series too. So this is this is a very heavy Amazon kind of a day. Before we leave, can I talk about some things in current events?
Please do.
Which I found really cool. Really briefly, first of all, I have to say this quietly. Look over my shoulder. Make sure Scott's not around. Scientists have confirmed they have found a cave on the moon.
A cave on the moon?
A naturally occurring formation.
That's what they want you to think.
So scientists have confirmed a cave on the moon not far from where Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin landed 55 years ago.
Coincidence? I think not.
And suspect there are hundreds more that could house future astronauts. An Italian-led team reported Monday that there's evidence for a sizable cave accessible from the deepest known pit on the moon. It's located in the Sea of Tranquility, just 250 miles from Apollo 11's landing site. 250 miles seems like a long way on the moon, though. That's a long way to go in a little rover, you know?
Now, what's the commute? What's the over-under commute on that? What's the speed limit there?
Yeah, they have to have a cruise control that adapts to lunar speed limits in the future. Yeah, but that's kind of cool. I do think it's kind of interesting that we are talking about exploring the moon and that we would use caves for shelter. Those two things are like...
What? No. I feel like use what you've got, right? If it saves you sending a 3D printer up to build a habitat, you just like use a cave, easy peasy.
And it's so funny, we're talking about convergence. So there, is a lot of talk about the moon could potentially be used for its helium reserves that it has there, Ashley. And we know that helium can be important in space travel.
No, I know a couple of astronauts who are looking for helium right now.
Boy, we talked about stories disappearing from bigger events too. It's like everyone's kind of stopped talking about the astronauts that are stuck on the ISS, or excuse me, not stuck on the ISS.
That are not stuck. Thank you. It's because we're just waiting to figure out when they get to come back.
Yeah, so this is crazy. I'll read this really quickly. We're talking about helium reserves. This actually goes back to March of this year and somehow fell under my radar. They found a massive helium reservoir in northern Minnesota, and they just got some more measurements back on it, which blow away what were already the completely unbelievable readings they had on this reservoir. It is a 0.7 mile long reservoir underneath a region near Babbitt, Minnesota. Seismic data from the 0.7 mile long sweep just outside of Babbitt suggests the recently discovered reservoir is larger than the initial estimates indicated, which has resource exploration company Pulsar Helium and its potential clients jumping for joy. We're delighted to receive this 2D seismic data. Hold on one second. That was a quote from the guy. It is,
"We are delighted to receive this 2D seismic data."
I said that never gets old. Laboratory tests in June placed helium concentrations in the reservoir between 8.7 and 15%.
I mean, that seems good.
Previously, the maximum for the estimates could be as high as 12%, which I didn't know what that meant, but luckily they tell you here. To put those figures into context, any helium deposit with a concentration above 0.3% is considered economically significant, and the concentrations in this reservoir are the highest that the industry has ever seen.
0.3?
0.3, and these are 15%. So,
wow.
And it's the highest concentrations that have ever been recorded, that the industry's ever seen.
There's some astronauts floating for joy out there.
That's great, though. That's great news. I mean, here we live in this time of ever-depleting resources, and we just dug down in the earth, and we found this enormous helium reserve.
Oh, my God, Bernie, think of all the gender reveal balloons that's going to be able to fill.
It is a very important resource. I'm actually surprised that they haven't yet limited, helium essentially for recreational, purposes, because it has such an application for space travel and lots of industrial things as well. And we were worried we were going to be running out of helium, but we found one of the biggest reserves of all time. That's good news.
So we're back, baby.
We're back. Our helium's back, baby. Go nuts for donuts, everybody. All right. Well, anyone to thank today for our own personal reserves, Ashley?
Yes, I'd like to thank reservists Dan Federation, he's back again, and Colin Bishop for sponsoring this episode of Morning Somewhere at patreon.com/Morning Somewhere.
Colin Bishop's a great name. Dan, thank you so much. Dan, you are our own 0.7 mile long underground reservoir of helium. That's how we refer to you around the house. All right, well, that does it for us today, July 17th, 2024. We will be back to talk to you tomorrow. We hope you all will be here as well.
Bye, everybody.